Sup? I'm Betty. Today we're talking about orgasms. Yes, the big O. That's what we're talking about. Did you know there's like a huge percentage of women who do not have orgasms? Are you one of those women? That's okay if you are. We're going to talk about a bunch of different ways on how you can achieve this super blissful, joyful experience in human life. We're going to go into more detail about it in our upcoming workshop. Rebecca Castle and I are hosting a workshop about healing sexual trauma and embracing the sacred sexuality of the divine feminine. There's a bunch of different reasons why women don't have orgasms. Some can be hormonal imbalances, medical conditions, but like really what I find in so many people is a lack of understanding of your own body. It takes a lot of work to feel safe inside of your vessel. And especially if you've undergone any sort of trauma, it can be very challenging to find safety in yourself because of what's happened to you in your past. So one of the things that we're going to go over in the workshop, specifically on the first day, is we're going to be transmuting some of that trauma really by naming it, because you got to name it to tame it. Okay, sis? So some of the other stuff could be like stress or societal shame or unrealistic expectations. There's so many things that can act as barriers towards achieving the bliss of an orgasm. Um, so I read this book called Healing Love Through the Tao. And, they view sexual energy as a form of life force, your chi energy, your kundalini energy, that spark of the divine, your spirit. It can be cultivated. And in a healthy and vital way, like this is part of our human experience is to embrace our sacred sexuality. It's the most creative part of our being. So, your reproductive system is located in your sacral chakra, which is an energy center. And it's also the energy center of creativity. So, because you can literally create a human life there. The mantra for clearing that chakra is VUM, VUM. So, if you're so actually, I think it's VAM, but it's pronounced with a U. I don't know. Don't quote me on this. I'm not a chakra balancing teacher. So, if you are somebody who has experienced a lot of sexual trauma, do some stretching. And while you do, say VUM and LUM. LUM is the root chakra affirmation. Whenever I stretch my lower body, I'm always chanting LUM, especially when it's super painful. I'm like, oh, I feel the tension. I feel the trauma releasing out of my hips. We're storing a lot of stuff inside of our hips. Could be present life trauma, past life trauma, anything future life trauma. Who knows? There's a lot of stuff going on inside those energy centers down there. They've been programmed in childhood. So I can't imagine anyone not having trauma stored inside of those lower chakras, because trauma is not one size fits all. It could be if a teacher didn't call on you in class, you could be traumatized. So my encouragement to women watching this would be to explore yourself. Um, really understand what pleasure feels like in your body. I think that also understanding how to communicate with your partner, if you're not going to do this in a solo way, is super important. But you have to know what to communicate. You're going to discover that by exploring by yourself. And that can look a lot of different ways for a lot of different people. I'm not a huge advocate for pornography. I haven't watched porn or masturbated myself in maybe 9 months. But that was my own decision because my brain was getting a little fried out and I just felt like it was lowering my vibration a little bit. But I do think that there is something really sacred in sexuality. And so I just channel that energy now into my writing, into connection with my partner. And those are my words there. Um, Another thing is, to feel comfortable communicating with somebody that you're with. Like if you don't feel like you can tell them exactly what it is that you desire, it's time to move on. One time I was hooking up with this guy. Okay, it was just like when I was in active addiction and a hot mess. And should I tell this story? I'm going to. So this guy was like, anyway, I don't know. He got me like all drugged up, but then he didn't use the drugs, and we were like hooking up, and he went to go down on me and I was telling him what it was that I liked and he flipped out. He actually threw a temper tantrum and he was like, "Don't tell me how to eat pussy, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Dude, I'm not telling you how to eat pussy. I'm telling you how to eat my pussy." is it okay to say pussy in a spiritual video? Probably not. So I was like, my yoni, like this is how I like this aspect of sex, and he was just not having it. He seemed like totally emasculated in the fact that I knew what I enjoyed in my body, and I was asking him to help me achieve enjoyment. And then he had a micro penis. It's like, bro, you don't know how to eat pussy and you have a micro penis? Like, get over it. Sorry to all my micro penis watchers. I'm just making a funny story. Like, that's not true. Um, Another thing, like you got to heal the underlying trauma. Super annoying. Yeah, I know, but you have to do it. And here's the thing about trauma, right? Every time that you level up in your experience, the trauma demands to be recognized again. So as I came into my own spiritual journey, I was like, okay, I spent years like focusing on nothing but healing my sexual trauma, the sexual trauma that I had put onto other people, the sexual trauma I put onto myself, like all of the rapes and the molestation and the incest and just like all of these really dense experiences when it came to sex and transmuting my kinks and all of this really crazy stuff. And I was like, okay, great, I'm done. The end. I've found the key to enlightenment and I'm finished. And then I leveled up and I got into a healthy, interdependent relationship. And that shit all came back to the surface. And it was like, hey, girl, are you really as healed as you think you are? Guess what? You're not. And I had to do it all over again. But it looked a little bit different because some of the wounds had been healed, but maybe the scars, like the scabs were infected. Like they were starting to heal over, but there was still something dirty underneath that needed to come out. And even as we've been preparing for our workshop, I'm noticing more and more that some of my old wounds are coming to the surface as I get ready to teach about how to transmute this stuff. So it's an ongoing journey. The healing journey doesn't end. It's forever and ever and ever. Exhausting, I know, but we signed up for it. And then I just want to mention like this one other thing from the Tao teaching is to embrace the inner smile. And that's like a meditation practice where you just like smile at every organ inside of your body and, eyes closed, like focusing inward. And I can really focus all of my energy on smiling at my vagina and my organs down there, and I can ask for the blood to flow properly to them and for the right spaces to get engorged or to feel excited. And I can communicate with my body in a very direct way to help me achieve what it is that I'd like to achieve. It's the same way that, like, when athletes are training for something, like, they are in communication with their body. I don't know if it's the same thing, but you know what I'm saying. Like, there are ways that our bodies can talk to us, and we just have to be open to that. So I invite you to explore without any sort of judgment or shame all of the aspects of the things that I just said, all the words that came out of my mouth, and please feel free to click the link and sign up for our workshop. It's a three-parter. It's going to be the 6th, the 13th, and the 20th of February, 2025. And yeah, I hope to see you there. Each aspect stands alone, or you can do all three together. And we're really looking forward to teaching and learning and healing and thriving and coming. Okay, you deserve to have an orgasm, my sister. Okay, you really, really do. And you know what? God wants you to have an orgasm. There, I said it. God absolutely does, and I do too. So thank you so much, and we'll see you at the workshop. Be wavy.